uns richten.
Too late. That was live already. Hello everyone. Welcome to the fifth. Too late. It was live already. Oh, we got a problem here. What's that? Somebody has a speaker on from you guys? Can you maybe mute your speakers? No, I know what it is. Hang on. Somebody has a speaker on from you guys? Can you maybe mute your speakers? Okay, I think I got it. Somebody has a speaker on from you guys? Can we have it now? I think. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Well, this is how we go live. So, welcome. Well, you have a feedback also? How we go live. What is that? So, welcome. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, it was my bad. It was my fault. All right. So, as usual, welcome worldwide. This time, we're again somewhere else. Like usual, we're changing places. Beside me, this is Johannes Scherk. I'm David. We're both sitting in Frankfurt at the Meso office. Basically, what we do here is we're producing Node out of this place here. And right behind this wall, we have our production office. And from here, we're working with the Frankfurt-based team. Johannes is part of the team at Node, and he will be sharing a little bit about this festival app that you guys have been maybe researching in already. But before I start going into the festival, I'm gonna make the round complete. We have Alex Scholz from the Holo magazine. Hi Alex, good to have you in this call. Alex was joining us for this festival edition, and together with Jeanne, who's also here. They both are curating the discourse program of this year's festival. We're gonna talk about this later a little bit. And then Jeanne, well known. Jeanne is part of the Node teams since 10 years now, I guess. She's curating and has the artistic direction on the festival. And then we have Tebian Halm from the vvvv group, one of the core developers of vvvv. He will be sharing the latest updates on VL Stride, where everybody is super curious about, I guess. And we all want to see where you guys are, what you guys are doing, how and when we can use it on our own. And we have Takuma Nakata from Kyoto. Takuma is, I think you have 3 a.m. now. He stayed awake to do this, which is super amazing. He has some news to share on his upcoming webinar and what he's preparing for Node as well. And we have Sebel from Schnelle Bunte Bilder here in the call. He's joining from Berlin. And Sebel is basically, together with Sebel and Anni and Jorek, we started this meetup, and he's here to ask the right question and guide us a little bit through this evening. I think, we're not taking it too long with everything, but we have a schedule. Like, we wanted to talk a little bit about Node, give you an overview. We want then to have Takuma showcasing what he's working on for us. And then after that, we have Tebian talking. If you guys have questions, you can always use the chat on YouTube. We also have the back channel in the vvvv Riot channel, so you guys can ask questions there. I think Sebel is helping to read through this and bring this in. So since I'm also part of the festival team, I can now start to ask myself questions, but maybe this is not the best idea. This is why I'm skipping my role maybe a little bit and maybe I open up the round and yeah, would like to ask maybe Jeanne and Alex because last time we have been already talking a little bit about Node, and since then, like since a month, one major step is basically that we just published the website and we had a blog post again on vvvv.org. So basically we're now online, which for us is a super big step, because in the back you can imagine we have been doing a lot of crazy stuff. And maybe Alex, what did you do for Node the last 4 weeks? Maybe you can wrap this or try to wrap this. And first unmute your microphone.
What did I do for Lost over the for Node over the past 4 weeks? It's kind of all a blur because there are so many moving parts. I think we work towards completion of the festival program, or maybe completion would be overstating it, but we are kind of like trying to solidify kind of the main pillars of the festival, and it's going to be quite interesting this year. Obviously, everybody knows that it's going to be a very special edition, a hybrid edition. So there will be stuff happening in Frankfurt. There will be a lot of stuff happening online across different virtual spaces. John, I don't know, shall we launch into a little powwow about the main theme? I wasn't there for the last meeting, so maybe you can provide a connection to what you've shared thus far, and then we kind of expand on it a little more.
Yeah. Jeanne.
Yeah.
What's the theme about? What is the theme?
Maybe even though it's a little bit bad to talk about what's not gonna happen, but I want to just roughly say again that of course these last couple of months, as for everybody, also for us, have been like really crazy, and it was all about having to admit that a lot of work was invested in vain. Not 100% in vain, but a lot of energies have been going into inventing a really beautiful on-site event, I think. And I am coming from, like, as a curator, I love to think about formats, and I love to think about, you know, to socially engineer, if you will, contexts and environments for learning, for sharing ideas and knowledge. And this year was all about considering Node as what it is, a place where you would always think about tools and practices and connect this with this, actually previously major crisis, which was the ecological one, right? And to think about our practices, and this means like our community's practices, creative practices, but also everyday practices, and think about their ecological impact. And what the beauty of Node, from my point of view as a non-coder, as a curator, has been ever since I first entered this festival and this organization and this team, was the beauty of this festival as a place where different disciplines come together and people who really are into doing, experimenting, trying things out, and sharing their knowledge, and at the same time inviting others who maybe do not come with like high-end technology skills like I was back then, and I'm still to a certain point. I'm still sort of insider and outsider at the same time, and I felt Node, for me and also for others, it has always been a place where you come together and think about tools and think about practices. And this time we wanted to make it about, okay, how can we as a community think about, like, turn, and we said this on the festival website, you can see it, like, how can we think of turns thinking, questioning sustainability and the ecological dimension of our practices, how can we turn this process into our second nature, if you will, and how can we really include this on an everyday basis into our creative practices, our everyday practices. And for us, Node was just the right environment, and we wanted to create that space, a laboratory. Like, we wanted to turn all Node into a laboratory where we can think about V4 like as the classic mains, but also in the meantime continuously practically think about sustainability. And this is what we still want to try to do, but in a totally different framework. But it was a long journey to come to a place where this format makes sense in this hybrid version. Now we're quite happy about the result.
Yeah. So the term second nature is. Can you maybe give us a 3 lines on how this relates to the environmental issues and where's the connection here? Alex or Jean, I don't know.
You go first. Maybe just coming back to what I said earlier, like we're not taking it philosophically here, but we take it really like as a practical idea, to really say, okay, second nature literally means in like in German it would be Gewohnheit, or maybe a second human nature, like what you just do, it just turns normal. And this is like the literal meaning of the term. And this is where we want to go for, because this is what we have to do. No, we don't have to theorize about, the Anthropocene and what to do about it. But we have to really, everybody, there's all sorts of practices that we come with, that we know how to deal with. We have to rethink them all and very practically go into turning it just natural to natural. And we know that the term nature is highly problematic and also highly debated, but it's just the very colloquial term to say, okay, something's turning into our second nature, that what we all need to have these ideas to become,
Yeah.
Maybe Alex, you wanna go ahead and
No, I think that was a pretty good and sufficient summary. One thing that might be worth adding is, yes, there is need for major structural change, and at the same time, it's really important that we all individually also rethink, rewrite our second nature, our habits, the things that we do without thinking, because they feel so natural to us. And that's like from whether you recycle or not, to like the tools, the technologies that we use every day without thinking. And we want to use Node as an opportunity to actually really examine the things that we do every day critically, and then get a sense of what that means, of what the implications of these technologies and these processes are. And then also, challenge our industries, challenge the community, challenge our friends and family, essentially. Because while we all need to push for major structural changes, that happen on a political, on a governmental level, that cannot be the answer to everything, because we are under so much pressure, time-wise, that we kind of like at the same time, we also have to retool on an individual basis. And there's one tweet by Julian Oliver that has stuck with me ever since he tweeted it, I think in early 2019. And the tweet, I did actually dig it up before this meeting. And the tweet went, "Unless we entirely misunderstand the science, without mass per capita and political change, there will not be such a thing as media art, least of all a burgeoning commons within a matter of decades." And if you know a little bit about the science, then it's actually, everything is much worse than we think it is. So the clock is ticking, and the per capita, which means all of us individually, really matters. So like all of us, we need to get our shit together while pushing for the structural changes that we need.
Yeah, there was
and this is the place more for.
Yeah.
Alternative title, Get Your Shit Together. That was also highly discussed.
Yeah, thank you for the overview. Yeah, Sebel, yeah.
Maybe a short question about, because you mentioned the labs before, and that you originally wanted to have a lot of labs at Node. So I wanted to ask what but especially how does a lab work at Node? What is the participants, the outcome, and how did this idea evolve into in our hybrid festival?
Okay, maybe I go first. So the whole idea of the laboratory, as it was first sketched out, was that it is an environment where our community gets together with experts from from climate activists to biologists to people in our community, meaning also the local community from the neighborhood in Frankfurt, like people of all sorts of ages, and eventually sketch ideas together, provide workshops, really go out in the streets and experiment with ideas. And that was really like a challenging question on how to acknowledge ways of learning and the didactics of a format, if you will, and how to transfer this into, and how to stick with this idea and with this idea to create the right conditions for exchange between experts and non-experts, people with different sorts of knowledge and experiences. And we knew that we can't do that in one Zoom or vvvv call. That was for sure. And so we decided that this is going to be like specifically this sort of knowledge exchange and co-creation part in terms of the second Nature Lab will have to start during Node Festival and will be kicked off during Node Festival. And we use Node Festival as the opportunity to start the conversation. And from that, we will take it on to the rest of the year. So this is like the big news that we haven't officially launched yet. We will launch in a couple of days in August. But for you as a sneak preview, we will have some amazing people who launch that conversation and who will express their invitation to really go on to work together for the next half year on different questions that all evolve around the ecological dimension of the use of technology in our day-to-day practices. And eventually, the idea is that together we will come up with ideas, we will come up with proposals, we will come up with from small prototypes to guidebooks on how to do certain things, how to change our tools, our practices, and so on and so forth.
Okay, and maybe
Alex, do you want to add something?
so the question, like from a community perspective, at a certain point there will be the possibility to basically apply or register themselves to be part of this, right? I think this might be an important point here. And do you have an estimate when that could be? I mean, I don't want to bring you to a position to nail things down now. If not, it's also fine. But everything is a process.
Like when we will allow applications?
Yeah, exactly. Like how can we, like, what does this mean for the community, basically?
I don't think we haven't agreed on a date yet, but so this kind of this learning format, this educational initiative that Node is launching at this year's festival is divided into different chapters. Each chapter is led by a different practitioner under a different topic, and each chapter will run for about 4 weeks. There's a little bit of flexibility there. And so the idea is that you and especially people from the community can apply to participate in these mini labs, if you will, and they will run for 4 weeks, and then it's on to the next lab, and for which you would have to apply to also. I think we will allow people to apply for the first lab ahead of Node, but we have to figure out the minute of the final details of the schedule over the next few days.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you're all welcome to participate and
And we tried also, like we say in our application, and we make a little application form, and the reason for this is mainly to be able to really get together people with different backgrounds. You know, the idea is to really have as diverse as possible combination of people who could start thinking together. So
okay, we keep working on this. Thanks for the overview. I think that's super helpful for the community to understand a bit more of the thinking behind this, and obviously this also gives us as the festival makers the chance to start with our own change processes, and here comes maybe Johannes into the game. We guys have been working on setting up and evaluating possible platforms for running the workshops on, and obviously we didn't want to use Zoom here to start on our own end to do things differently and right, and try to come up with solutions to run the systems on server that we know, and from privacy to power consumption. This gives us the chance to be in control of all that. So we have been talking a lot about these issues. Maybe you can give a little wrap up what we are at.
Yeah. Do you want to start for our festival hub, the festival?
No, maybe here for Big Blue Button, maybe shortly.
Button, yeah. Right now we are currently running this stream from Big Blue Button. It's an alternative for Zoom, everybody knows, but it's not giving us the data security we want to have. So we set up, with help of Meso, our own server structure with open source software that is controlled by our own. And we want to have all the different workshops and also the conference of Node 20 using this infrastructure that we control on our own.
Yeah, exactly. So for us, this is also an experiment. I mean, within the Node Institute, we have been running the webinar so far on Zoom, and everybody knows how good this works. Maybe we have to bite into the bitter apple at a certain point and step back a little bit for the UX, but be on a better platform technology-wise and ethic-wise. So that's why we're evaluating Big Blue Button here, and this is the first tryout how this feels to also stream out from it. But maybe there's another platform that we're mentioning on the website, and that's our festival hub. What is that? I'm sharing the screen here now. So so the question was, how do we actually meet when we're not able to come to Frankfurt? So maybe you can give us an idea of, we have this little how-to here. What does it say, Johannes?
It says that you mainly can attend within our festival hub. It's basically a web app you can open in the browser or on your mobile, and you get access to it once you bought a ticket.
Okay, so we can do this here, and what's the idea about the tickets here?
The idea of those 3 different tickets is that everybody gets the same, but you are free to support Node as a non-profit organization by setting your own price. The only difference is that we have an organization ticket where studios, companies or universities can bring their whole team and also label them as an organization and showcase their work or their team in an organization profile.
Okay, so yeah, wrapping this up, I mean, I think for us it was important to somehow address the situation where everybody is in, and for many studios and artists and freelancers, this is a super tricky time basically. So we came up with the idea, okay, let's be yeah, let's be kind and like you guys choose the price, and this could even mean I mean, you can make yourself visible with your organization or with your studio by buying one of these tickets, and then have your, I don't know, your co-workers and friends going for the full week for only 50 euros. And then what you get is basically a link to our festival hub. And this festival hub we're going to show you here, maybe quickly jumping in. In the end, it's this is the web app, but it's also coming as a Android and iPhone app, so you can actually follow the festival also from a meeting that you attend, or from your grandma's couch, or wherever you are. Yeah, so what do we see here, Johannes?
Right now we choose the tab schedule. That's actually our program agenda with all the individual sessions.
I mean, this is still demo content here. Yeah, we're working on bringing together the schedule.
So later on we will have a full week, and each day is represented here as a list. Of course, we have a different program going on in parallel, multiple workshops and the conference. And you can now sub or choose the different agenda sessions, read on who is the speaker or who are the speakers. Is there any content provided yet by the hosts or the speakers, so they can upload presentations? And if you are subscribed, or if you have subscribed to this topic, then you also get a notification that there is a new presentation, for example, online for a workshop. So then you can be the first one seeing these new infos.
Okay, so basically, like to also here wrap it up. So this is basically the landing page and the landing hub for everyone. We're gonna see who's attending in a very long list, and you can get in contact. You can create groups, etc. And also it gives you the access to the Big Blue Button rooms to attend in the workshops. And even if the workshops are fully booked, of course, we're going to provide a live stream of the running workshops, so everybody can follow and click along in learning this.
Yeah. Can you show it shortly?
Yeah.
If we go back to schedule, and then, for example, we use the Hackspace, or
Yeah.
So currently we are not yet attending actively, but there is a button attend, and once you do that, you will then see a new button where you can later on access the webinar to also ask your own questions, engage with others, and discuss on the topics actively. And for all of those who have not yet booked a seat or were not lucky enough to get one of those seats, they of course will see the live stream on Vimeo or YouTube. Also within the festival app here, if you go back to EcoFutures, there we have an example. So directly in the agenda, then you will see all of the different live streams going on in parallel by switching through the different program.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Is there questions somewhere on the chat?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was one question about if there is some sort of online exhibition, or maybe there's a way in the app to showcase your own work, or what about that topic?
Maybe Jean, you take this one.
So we actually, unfortunately, the on-site exhibition was the first thing to be cancelled during the Corona upcoming. But we are trying to, at the moment we're working on different ideas on how to make artwork of the community as well as like topic related work visible, and we will get back to you on this. I don't want to be too precise right now because it's still in the making, but a series of calls for different opportunities will come up.
Super. And also we had a blog post on vvvv.org asking you guys if somebody wants to actually help out, please write me a line on my email. It's posted there. this could be support for the on-site conference production for those who are working professionally in directors' offices a lot, for instance, but also like for co-hosting workshops, etc. So, and also maybe you guys have ideas on how to tackle the theme here and to address that theme as a community, and you have your own ideas, please just drop us a line. We're super open to take this, yeah, and take this into account.
I want to pick up Siva's question once again, because there are, next to the virtual online exhibition, 2 more possibilities where you guys can contribute and showcase your work. On the one hand side, all ticket buyers will have the possibility to submit a video for our online conference. That could either be a showreel or, even better, a insight or documentary on how you realize different projects and why. And we will broadcast those videos during the breaks of the conference.
So,
and this,
yeah.
you want to add anything?
No.
And the third thing is the profile you have in Talk, our festival app, the Festival Hub. So you of course can also embed videos there.
Yeah, basically prepare your showcases, your show reels, whatever you want to share as a video, and we can implement that in the conference stream, of course, for everybody, and also you can showcase in the app. All right, any more questions? No? Okay. They will come up, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe just one question.
Yeah.
What do you think about the workshop size when it's digital or online? I mean, at the previous Node Festival, we had like 30 people in the room, or almost 40 sometimes. Do you think there would be more because it's maybe just streaming, or less, or do you just sell tickets for every workshop as?
No, we only what we do is we sell basically access to the full week. Nothing else. It's super easy. You get a ticket and you have full access. You basically are in the app, and from there on you have everything accessible. And talking about the workshop, yes, indeed. I mean, going online with that also gives new possibilities here. What we do is we have a smaller round of active participants, like we are here in this Big Blue Button chat at the moment. We're gonna have, depending on bandwidth, and we're still evaluating that, maybe 20, 25, 30, depending on what Big Blue Button is capable of doing and server capacities and let's say it's 25 people being actively with the host in a session like this, and like we do right now, we're gonna capture that. There will be one client connected to the Big Blue Button room that is basically doing what I'm doing here live, like I'm highlighting certain screens here, so an online audience can see it, and for the rest they will follow it on that stream. Then this is how we come up with. So basically, it can be 100 people watching.
Cool. So if someone buys a ticket, the person can attend every workshop.
Yes.
At least.
Yeah. And also, if you guys miss a workshop, you can review it at any time. That's also
we don't
a new possibility.
Like in parallel and things like that.
But if you're the lucky one, then you'll be part of the active conversation and have your questions directly asked in the
Yeah. Thanks.
That's the idea. And we're thinking of like 25 workshops at the moment. So basically 3 on a day, 2 parallel. So it's not like a Node festival. We had, I think the last one we had 50, but let's try to be realistic on how many people are actually hanging out a full week on the on the screens online. So yeah, I mean, we've been thinking about this a lot, and well, we just do it. You know, it's an experiment. So I hope everybody is joining into this experiment, and let's see how this runs. I think it's gonna be could be a good time. Yeah, let's go on. I think we spent more questions. Yeah, one more.
One more question about networking. Like I can understand this question a bit because a festival is like bringing people together, you learn new people. And what about the daily chat and you have with maybe strangers? Is there a possibility to enable that?
Yes. So the Festival Hub comes with several different channels how people can interact. Of course, there is a chat where you see all the other participants and you can write them. That would be the first step. Once you introduced yourself to a new person, then it's kind of a known contact. And from this point, you can also schedule either meetings where you can say, hey, Tibian, aren't you free tomorrow at 11 o'clock? I would like to meet you. Or you can also directly start a video call. In the moment you click the button, now it is.
I could call Doreen now.
You could call me because I'm here with my laptop.
Let's see if this
And
works.
you can directly start video calls within the Festival Hub.
Where are you?
I can also call you.
Let's see. This could be tricky because I'm using my webcam already.
Okay.
So this, I don't want to do this with Inside Livestream, but basically you can have a group chat with your buddies and have that as an overlay while watching the conference. Yeah, that's the idea. Feedback. Yeah.
So basically now we are connected within our Festival Hub via video conference. Yeah. So everybody can do that with the other participants.
Yeah. So there will be a certain point where let me stop the screen share. It's confusing me. Where are we? Here we are. Yeah. So this possibility is given at any time, and there was also the idea that maybe it makes total sense that you guys in your cities like get connected and share space for the festival week or prepare space in Moscow, in Mexico, wherever you guys are, and sit together in 1.5 meter distance, as we have it here in Germany at least. If it's possible for you to do that, I think that would be a good festival atmosphere to sit together and following what's going on. We want to invite to that, and of course, yeah, I mean, building groups and chatting around will be possible. Yeah, one more from Jean, and then we have to move on.
Just wanted to add, maybe we can also slightly tease that there will be also a very informal way to network during Node, like a game-ish kind of way. We are opening up yet another online venue. The Greenhouse Naxos has already been mentioned on the website, and maybe we could next week or whenever, like in a couple of weeks, invite Gloria to share a bit this mingling space for
totally. For those who know Gloria is also a vvvv user. I think she's working at Wir machen Bunt or worked, I don't know, like from Muthesius. She has been at Node and she is working on the Greenhouse Naxos, as Jean said. It's going to be a virtual space, basically a virtual Naxos Halle, where we can enter and meet also, like beside that space here. Yeah, maybe we invite her for the next meetup and she can present what she's on there. Okay, let's go on maybe. Takuma, you're next. I'm gonna yeah, Takuma, like can you hear us? Yeah. We cannot hear you. Are you muted? There's an issue. No. There was a connection loss in between.
Maybe Alex and I can move into listening and observing mode. And
yeah, it's fine.
Some bandwidth for you guys.
It's fine. Yeah. We'll leave you out.
Looking forward.
Thanks for joining. Good to have you.
See you tomorrow in the
Bye-bye.
office.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Takuma, how's it going? Can you hear us in the meantime? Can you? Yeah. You had a connection loss in between. I saw that you were gone for a moment, and then your image came back. No, still not. I mean, what we could do is change the order and have you reboot your system or something, like prepare yourself, so people don't wait weirdly. Yeah, it's good. Okay, then we have Tabian. This is faster than thought. Okay, so
Yes.
this is Stride. Mr. Tonfilm.
Don't expect too much from my presentation. I'm not going through the whole library. The idea is just here to have a little bit of different presentation than before. I mean, in the last meetups or in the last online videos that you saw, we had some quite nerdy topics often and went into detail of like GPU rendering and stuff like that. But in this presentation, I want to show you what we are currently working on, which is like designing more like the surface, like the first contact that you have with this library, especially as a beginner. So, so basically it's about the ease of use of the library. I wanted to demonstrate with just a few notes on the screen. So let me start the presentation. Take presenter, start, share. Right? Good. I hope you see everything.
Yeah.
So I'm having this vvvv installed. So this was something I've downloaded with an installer. It's installed. Now I'm starting this version. And the reason I'm showing this is like we have everything packaged. So we already have a version internally that comes with everything, including the Stride. So then you have the help browser. You can go into Learn. And if you type Stride here, you will have the demo patches of various categories. But I'm not going to open them today because they're just in the beginning phase. So the demo patches is like something we do as a last step. So there are only 4 yet, so expect many more here. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm closing the help browser and start from scratch here to just show you the workflow, how you can work with Stride here. And the cool thing is you only needed, so far, you only needed to download the vvvv installer. So you don't really need to install Stride for this, what I'm showing here. That's the interesting thing because we already package everything in our download. So as you can see, I've opened the Node browser and then you see in all the packages that are available here for your application, you see the VL Stride. So I'm clicking that one and now you see the compiler runs. It adds all the files, compiles the packages, and that's it already, I think. So then we get this new category here, and that's something we did in the last weeks, like present you in the Node browser with a like clean look with only a few nodes in the beginning, so main nodes that you need for basically every project you're doing, no matter whether it's a little experiment or an installation or a game or whatever you want to do. And then you have like topical categories for like models, materials, lights, textures, utilities, of course, and windowing, like managing different windows. So let me start with the render window here. And this is a node that you know very well. It's called renderer in vvvv. And as you can see, it opens a window. So this node is representing this window. And let's see what kind of inputs we have. So the first one you notice here is, let me increase the tooltip size a little bit, is it wants an entity. So let's see what we have here. We go to Stride, example models. Let's use, no, I wanted to show something else before. This looks like a renderer, but it is already a bit more, because this node inside, if you have a peek here, is already a patch. So it's already like compilation of a few tools that we provide in the library that makes it convenient to use. For example, that is, if you press the F4 key on the keyboard, there is already an axis and grid and the camera, as you can see, already included. And another thing there is like if you press F2, you already have the perf meter. And if you press F3, you even have the Stride profiler running here. So this is already something quite comfortable to use, I think. So let's try to render a sphere here into the screen. Connecting this, and then you see a sphere, but it is black. If you see, check the input here, it's in the center. Let's move it a little bit. Tooltip is a bit big here. Let's do a transformation node. D, and let's move it a bit up in the world like this. But it's all black. But the cool thing here is the render window already has like the whole like entity component system of the game engine inside. So what we can do is we can add a light here, for example, a directional light. And of course, we also need to connect this here. So what we can do is like add a group in this link, the group Stride, space. And as soon as I connect this light here, you see there's a light, little light helper, and the sphere has a light. And if I press F4, yeah, the scene is naked like this. So the next thing I want to show is that this engine running inside here already renders shadows. So I can press Ctrl+ here on this group. So make a new input. And let's add a plane as a like this. And the plane has an up vector. You can set this to Y. In the latest version, I'm not running the latest version here. The latest version, this is already the default. And the size is also much bigger by default now. So let's give it a size. So as you can see, there's already shadow here. And so what I'm going to do now is change the appearance of the sphere. And you can do that, of course, with materials. And for that, we have a convenient node PBR material, which you can connect to the sphere. Let's bring it a bit closer here. And this has 3 pins: color, metalness, and glossiness. So if I bring up the metalness, it becomes more of a, like a silver. And if I make it more glossy, it's more reflective. But the interesting thing here, again, is that this material, of course, the original material in the Stride engine has like 20 to 50 parameters, I think. And of course, for a beginner or for the ease of use, you just need those main parameters here. But if you want to get more into detail later, so if you have like a special requirement for your material, you can see how this node is made if you go inside. And you see it's also just made up of other nodes that represent material attributes, like what kind of light model is used, what kind of metallicness is used, and things like that. So that's quite modular and quite cool, I think. Yeah, so the cool thing is here, that this basically works as simple as in beta, plus the cool thing is that you have a whole render engine behind it, lighting, shadows, and everything. So what I want to do now is draw many spheres, and this can be done in a naive way. Just around this with a for each loop, do a random spread, 3D, and for each position, we'll do how we can use this transformation here. This to the center. Now I have a lot of spheres here, and we can also, like this node, we can join them horizontally or like as a collection. There's a group, spectral, stride. This joins all the spheres, and we also have only one, I think. Let's turn it up. We should not see many spheres here. There is something wrong.
I think you're using a repeat, right? Not a for each.
Oh, I clicked the wrong surround width. Okay. I think I can change this. Thanks. Wouldn't have noticed that. All right, there. Let's change the size a little bit. So you can have many of them. Let's change the count and enable the perf meter too. So if I turn the count up now and draw many spheres, maybe make them a bit smaller. You can see at a certain point, the frame rate gets a bit slower. Okay, it's not bad so far. But yeah, so at 2000, so this is a very naive way to draw them. And of course, if you know 3D graphics, there's a technique called instancing. And we can use instancing here to do this in a much faster way. With only one sphere, I'll drag this out here. Let's get the material here. basically we just want to apply a lot of transformations to the sphere. And the way we can do this is we can like extend the sphere with components. We press plus here, we can add pins, and those pins are want to have a type of component, and the components can like add features to the sphere. For example, you could imagine this could be an audio file, or it could be a physics collider, which I will show in a second example. In this case, we just want to tell the sphere that we want to instance the sphere. So there's an instancing component, instancing array component. And if I connect all the transformations here, I connect the instancing component to the sphere. We are now using the same sphere entity here, but tell it to be instanced. And you can see frame rate is very smooth. It's quite easy here. From my laptop, which is from 2015. Now we can turn off the count, probably. Let's try 5,000. Still fine. Let's try 10, maybe. Okay, then it goes slow. But yeah, you have a lot of spheres here, and they're all rendered with a PBR material. Yeah, red, maybe. Now, as you have this, you can still change, for example, the lighting. You could maybe add skybox here, and give it a bit of a surrounding.
Fabian, while you're changing the group nodes down there, there was a question from the Matrix chat.
Yes.
If the order of the group node inputs does matter, does it have an effect if you're changing the order of the entities in the group node?
That's a very good question. If you know vvvv, let me turn this a little bit down. Let's go back to 2000. Good question. Yes. So the entity system, there it doesn't matter, because entities are more like a description. I could connect it in a different way, and it will still render the same output. Let's do it plain first, then the light maybe, and then the spheres is the same outcome. So this is more description. It's not like ordered render codes, which you can also do. We have a system that is very similar to the DirectX 11 way of doing things, where the layers represent actual like drawing instruction. But the entity level here is more like, yeah, you just throw stuff into your scene, and the scene like knows what to do with it. So it's a very high level that you can use here, and that makes it also very convenient. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter for entities, but for the layer system, which we also have, there it matters again. Any other questions?
We all know skier now. How would you, like, is there a possibility to add a skier layer somehow, like on top of the scene or something? Like, can we combine those worlds?
You can, yes. There is, I think we have a quad here. And I can also connect the quad here. And the quad has a texture input, and there should be image to texture. Yes. Oh, we have texture tooltip, by the way. It wants an image. Now if you have a sphere renderer here, oh no, we need the off-screen one, right? Then we get an image. Let's remove the spheres for a moment. There's an image. Oh, we need to image. And then we have the texture here. And then let's draw maybe a text. Yeah, so the text. Increase the size a little bit. Ah, it's the font size, right?
Randall is asking in the meantime, is the SKIA Stride communication layer all on GPU or is that piped through the CPU?
This is still on the CPU, I think, because SKIA renders in OpenGL, and this is currently the backend here for the 3D engine is DirectX 11. So there are some tools from graphics vendors from NVIDIA to share those textures, but we haven't looked into that yet. So, yeah. Of course, that's something we want to do. So SKIA is not rendering anything anymore for reasons I don't understand. Anyway, you can connect this now to the quad, and the quad should be somewhere here in the scene. No, it's not. Okay, I haven't prepared this. Sorry. It works. We already did this in a project, so you have to trust me. So let's go back to the sphere. The thing that I wanted to highlight here again is that you have this component system here, and so the sphere is now rendered with like an instancing component, but we can also, for example, add a rigid body component. It has many settings. It's a physics object. Physics has a lot of settings. We'll probably also make simpler objects for this one, like the material. But now the sphere has a physics component, and the component needs to know what kind of colliders it has. In this case, we want to describe physics, collider shapes, sphere collider. This. So now the sphere has, let me draw the sphere actually. You see there it was. It fell down because we don't have a floor where it can bounce off. And the physics category also has a ground plane, because it's something you need quite often. And you see the sphere came back. It just entered this scene. And there it is. You can remove the other plane. Yeah. So it bounced back to its original position here, because now there's something interesting happening. We are setting the transformation here every frame, and the rigid body also controls the sphere, but if the sphere doesn't move anymore, the rigid body stops to control the sphere. So as soon as the rigid body stopped to control the sphere instance, this transformation got applied again, which is sometimes something you want, sometimes not. You can like prevent this from happening by enabling the set transformation pin here, and only set the transformation when you really want to set the transformation in case of physics objects. Maybe you want to restart this physics simulation for the sphere. You can do it by a node. It's called reset physics. By the way, how much time do I have left?
I haven't started a stopwatch, but I think would be cool to wrap up in, I don't know, if 5 minutes or so. And then we have to and maybe some questions. Like, I think questions would be cool to get.
Yeah, I think you got the idea here that we have high-level nodes that do a lot of stuff for you, and yeah, that's what we wanted to show. That's all, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Question from my side directly. Like,
yeah,
we all know that you guys have been working on this for the last month heavily in order to have that ready for Node. Where are you? Like, if you show us the categories again, like where are you in the development pipeline? Like, what's the general, I don't know, like node set that we can expect, and what do we see here from that? And yeah, maybe you can go like shortly over those categories, like what's inside the box there.
Yes and no, because there's still a lot of cleaning we need to do. But the node set you can expect here is quite. So the first thing we wanted to do is like get all the engine features accessible to the user, because that is the highest level and gives you the most powerful tools into your hand. So you can, of course, expect here an audio category. And for windowing, that's quite clean. That's why I'm showing it now. For example, the screen infos that shows you, gives you information of all your connected adapters. I just saw in the forums like yesterday, there was an amazing contribution by Sebescudi, which does this like on steroids, gives you all monitors that are connected, serial numbers of the monitors, much better. But yeah, here's a basic one, but I would of course recommend to use the new contribution from Sebescudi. And then you have like set window nodes where you control your render windows, things like that. Then inside of textures, we have a lot of things. Of course, we are focusing on texture FX. You can already use them, and they have also previews. They might be connected here. But yeah, texture FX is an important node set, of course. Then the rendering category, this is basically all that has that it's the same level basically as DirectX 11, maybe a bit more low level than DirectX 11. This is basically where you compose things like the render window or even like a scene renderer. These are the nodes used inside here to make the rendering possible. So there will be a lot of stuff to discover and to check out. And of course, many models, all the primitives, then the model loader, most probably. instancing for the models, light types. We also have like this light shafts and like volumetric lights. Much more material nodes, for example, like pre-configured material nodes for transparent objects, or maybe even procedural materials if we get to that. And the next big step for us is, of course, shaders, so that you can, like if you have a look at the quad node inside, it is using a node that's called draw quad, and this has a layer output. So you can probably this node like translates from the layers, you know, from DirectX 11, where you have to do everything on your own, like every shader code, every like texture, every buffer, resource you have to manage on your own. So this is this level, and of course we also have a group here, sprite rendering, and there are many nodes that can do drawing for you. Go into the points. Draw array, for example, yeah, which draws something. So this is this other level, but I don't want to go into this right now. Maybe on the next meetup we can show you more of the render, which is now called layer. Yeah, yeah, so far.
Any more questions? Sebel?
Yes, there was Randall Vasquez asking if we can have like 2,000 bouncing spheres, please.
Right now, let me see.
Challenge
We
accepted.
can, of course, yeah, the quick way and the not so, the efficient way would be to use instancing, of course, here. But the quick way here is to do the same as we did here, the sphere, and, oh, this was important. So take this part that manages the sphere, surround it with a beach. And now we need transformations. So we have one. Let's do a translation inside. And I think with physics object in the naive way, you can go up to 500 maybe. Oh yeah, there they are. Okay, I don't want to stretch my time.
It's fine, yeah.
Nice.
Is there a question? Another one? Okay.
All right.
Thank you for
Thanks
the
for
overview.
listening. More in one of the next meetups.
Yeah. And do I get it right? Well, I know it, but people out there don't know it. What can we expect for the festival? Will we be able to learn this and use it?
Yes, of course. That is currently our main focus. We will, of course, have much more workshops for Stride as we have announced at the moment. So there will be at least 2 or 3 more. And our goal is also to release what you've seen here at least a few weeks before Node, so that everyone can like start to play with it, get a feeling, and of course give us feedback whether something is completely off, unusable, or find bugs we have no eye for because we use it every day or something like that. So you can of course expect to have this a little bit before Node as a download preview. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Debian, for giving us this overview. I think we're all excited. Great. Yeah, Takuma's back.
I think it's working. It's working, right?
Yes, it's working. We can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Takuma, we
Hello,
have
Maher.
been emailing and chatting over the past few weeks. We have been trying to figure out a little bit what we can do, because for those who don't know Takuma yet, Takuma is running a bunch of fantastic tutorials on how to use vvvv beta mainly, especially for visual output. Takuma, can you tell us a little bit on how did you start with that? Where like what's the idea behind it? Who are you? Basically, for those who don't know you yet.
Yes, basically a freelance interaction designer based in Kyoto, Japan. And I'm going to talk a bit about my background. So I think I learned vvvv like 8 years ago. And then I started working in Japan as a freelance, helping clients, like solving how to create their interactive installation and things like that. So for like motor shows, like creating VR games and things like that, I've been using vvvv for that kind of purpose. And then I always had this idea that I wanted to share my knowledge because I'm pretty bad at like, how to say, making friends in community, and I thought everyone was someone really far away. So what I did was I kept reading all the threads and like other people's questions, and that was the way how I learned. So there were a lot of stock of knowledge that I wanted to share, but I was also shy, really shy to just share, to create a tutorial. So I was like, okay, leave it alone. But then last year, I sort of like decided to change my career more from a technical, like, how to say, helper to an artist. So I applied to this residency program called Adobe Creative Residency, which is basically run by Adobe. And they supported me 1 year to do whatever I wanted to do. And the way they forced me was like, if you don't put your stuff on social, no one knows about you. And that's what they kept telling me. So I started doing this Instagram 100-day vvvv graphic post, and I kept posting that on Instagram. And then I started to get a lot of like questions on like, can you share your patch? How do you make this? Do you use Unity? I was like, no, it's vvvv. So that made me start this vvvv YouTube tutorial, which is this one.
Great. Okay. And yeah, so then we kept up the conversation somehow, and you are one of the very few like really preparing knowledge on yeah, like on an entry level tutorial style for beta graphics, and I think everybody is like really yeah, loving that, and then you offered to come up with a workshop for the festival. And
yes,
and yeah, what's the idea? Like, what are you gonna do?
I think the one before the Node festival, I think we're gonna held on one previously on Node Institute,
Yeah.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I'm basically gonna share how you create like how to say this kind of graphic using a field trip and some other spline buffer nodes. So it's something that I've been sharing on my YouTube tutorials, but it's sort of like I decided to keep my YouTube tutorial on 20 minutes. So there's a lot of small things that I can't share. So in this webinar, it's going to be a 3-hour webinar. And there you will learn how to create this kind of visual, like converting geometry to an SDF and then applying some like different things to change the shape of it.
Okay, great. So when is that webinar?
When was it? Wait a second. This webinar is happening on August 21st, so that's next month.
Okay. So and what do you expect from people? Is this mainly for people who already have some experience in beta and graphics in beta? What would you say is a good entry point? Is it newbie safe, or do you expect people to know how to deal with, I don't know, DirectX 11 already? And like, what's
Yeah. So I at least want those people to know how to play around with vvvv, have installed Field Trip inside their pack and had make sure that it's working. So if you followed some of my tutorial, then it's great, because I think the average level for this webinar will be the same for my YouTube tutorial as well.
Super.
So it's not for like total beginner. I can't like explain all the installation instruction, like that's gonna take too much time. So at least like have experimented with like the DirectX 11 and Field Trip and those kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a good chance for people who actually want to create visual output on that level, as an overview, what kind of contributions and packs this works on, and what you like in the basics have to understand to be able to do that. And then if you think towards Node 20, what's your idea there to get further from there? Or you had a talk also with Kyle about it. Can you share some insights of what?
Yeah, so we're now, Kyle is the guy who made this Field Trip pack, and with my webinar, I'm also using quite a lot of this Field Trip pack because I love it. And I'm trying to learn from him and trying to go a bit further than this webinar. So it's gonna be sort of like this webinar that it's happening next month. It's something that we reach out with this graphic, but in Node, I'm trying to go a bit further than that.
Yeah.
So that we can reach something more different than the other ones.
Super. Okay, cool. Is there any questions from the audience somewhere on the channels? Sable? Maybe? Oh, now we can't hear Sable. No. I wonder if this has to do with a big blue button or
Sorry?
no, I'm just saying
no.
Sable was not hearable. I don't know why. But
He just said no.
Sable, say something. No? No, it's not working. Interesting.
No, I hear you.
Takuma, you hear Sable?
Yes. I do hear him.
That is interesting. Well, good we're evaluating that. Tevian, can you hear Sable? No.
Sable is muted. Sable has the mute. Ah, okay.
No, I think it's gone.
Maybe you have a private channel now.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. I think that's good to know. So you keep being in contact with the community. You prepare the webinar. We're excited. Hopefully, get new people onboarded in the community, and also have you at Node will be amazing.
Yes.
Should we wrap it here, or did you have some more to show somehow?
Well, if you're interested in creating like graphics, I'm not a coder. I can't code anything at all. So even though we can create this kind of visual, so if you're interested in creating like cool visual using vvvv beta, I think this is the webinar that would be interesting for you. And also, I'll be posting a lot on YouTube. Like I decided to post my YouTube tutorial on every Tuesday and Friday, so twice a week. So, and I'll keep informing about my webinar there as well, and also on my Instagram. So yeah, keep your eyes on it so that I can update the information.
Super. Okay, we'll do that. We'll spread it.
That's really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it is totally the level of like the frequency of the tutorials and the topics of the tutorials, like it's really cool to follow and to dive into. It's really good for designers and computational
especially
designers.
also the visual quality. The visual quality of the output is always amazing, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was not David. I think it was Yuri who named my tutorial graphics tutorial. So I have to work hard on that.
But I think what you learn from doing these tutorials is like all the little tricks and all the little best practices, and you know, with the goal of having a visual, good-looking output. And this is special about this series of tutorials here. It's good.
Oh, and I'm running out of topics. So if there's anyone who has like certain topic that I should make, please let me know.
Yeah. All right. Then I think we're at the end. Thank everybody for joining in to this meetup here. And we see each other in a month. We do the meetup, for those who don't have it in the calendar, every 4th Tuesday in a month, for those who have hard times remembering that. That's basically the rule set. So there's 2 more prior to Node. And yeah, if you guys come up with suggestions and projects you want to showcase and contributions or even workshops you want to pre-announce, let us know, and we are back in a month. Thanks for watching, everybody, and see you soon.
See you.
Bye-bye.
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 You are now muted.
Mach ich jetzt hier einfach ausloggen?